Hi everyone, I am here to talk to you about the pelvic floor. So a few things regarding pelvic floor health. There's a lot of individuality involved with pelvic floor training. Sometimes it's difficult to feel. You wonder, am I engaging the pelvic floor? Am I not? So it takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of work with breath. The breath is really important when you're finding your pelvic floor because the diaphragm and the breath muscles relate to the pelvic floor muscles and work with and against each other. So breathing is really, really important. So we're going to do a few kind of non-traditional exercises to work on the breath, but also to mobilize the spine so that our mid-back can be very, very loose and therefore we can breathe and then better engage the pelvic floor muscles. And then at the very end, we'll get to the more traditional like Kegel engagement for the pelvic floor. So I have a helper today. Thank you for being here. We're going to start by mobilizing the spine. We're actually going to go all fours on the bellicon. So I love going all fours on the bellicon because it feels nice on the wrist as opposed to being on the floor. And you know what, let's take a sideways view and that way we can see your spine. And what you want to look for here is the shoulder is right in line with the wrist. So maybe come even a little more forward, great. And then bring the knees a little bit forward so they're right in line with the hips. Great, so that all fours placement is key. She's doing a really nice job of her head alignment and really getting a long line here through the spine and also making sure that she's not sinking between the shoulder blades, but there's a little bit of pressure coming off from the frame. We're gonna really breathe here through this slow 4-count breath. She's gonna just inhale here. On her exhale, she's gonna round her spine and she's gonna scoop everything under, drop the weight of her head and use the frame to press away. We're gonna stay here. She's gonna breathe into the back with a big inhale and then she's gonna exhale and do the opposite, go into a little extension. And I want you to think of the extension coming from the mid-back, not the lower back. The low back will extend too, but think of it coming from the heart. Again, breathing in and then exhaling to round. So this is suggested breath. You don't have to follow it. As long as you are breathing, I'm happy. Sometimes breathing on cue can confuse people. So just breathe and then open up the back. Pull the shoulders down. Good. Now take a few of these on your own, just fluid, just inhaling and exhaling. Rounding. And then arching, just really gooey like a snake. Good, and again, rounding, careful not to hyperextend those elbows, just a little bit of a bend in those elbows so they're not locked. And arching, one more time, really fluid, breathing, rounding. Good, and arching, and then just come back to neutral. So that long alignment, good. Now, this one I know is gonna be a fun one for her because she's a dancer and us dancers don't like to release our belly a lot. I know I can say that from personal experience. What I want you to do here is actually practice releasing your belly. So you're gonna take a big inhale, let your belly go into my hand. Yeah, and then you're gonna exhale, draw your belly up towards your spine. And you can see her spinal shape is not changing. So it's just coming from the belly. Inhale, the belly expands, you can barely see it. Really let that belly go, big belly. And then exhale, draw it up. Nice, one more time. Inhale, let that belly expand. Great, nice heavy belly, and then exhale, draw it up. And we'll just sit back on the heels, take a break. So that little bit of being able to actually release and draw up is really important too. We don't always want to clench the pelvic floor muscles tight. We also want to be able to release and engage them. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to continue with this spinal mobilization. We're going to come seated on the front edge of the bellicon. So you can do this exercise one of two ways. You can do it seated here, or the way that we're going to have her do it is she's going to sit back on the bellicon and go cross legs. I like doing it this way because I get a little bigger range, but this isn't comfortable for everybody's hips, so you can also come forward if you like. Okay, this is a real good, again, breathing and spinal mobilizing exercise. It's called Mermaid in Pilates. You're gonna take your right hand to the frame. We're gonna use the frame. So what's important here is that you're getting this push and pull on the frame as we go. And you want the right hand a little bit in front of the shoulder. And what you're gonna do is take the other arm up, big breath in, and you're gonna side bend over. Yeah, and you're gonna kind of use the frame to press against, so you feel this lift from under here and this movement here. And then I want you to breathe into these side muscles. So big breath into the side ribs and a big breath out. Yeah, and just keep breathing, a few more breaths on your own. And what this does is, again, it mobilizes our spine, it gets our breath going, so when we get to the more traditional pelvic floor strengthening exercises, we can properly engage everything. Good, one more breath. And then we're just gonna bring it back and just stretch to the other side, just a little counter stretch, reach over the other way. Perfect. And then we're gonna do it one more time on that same side. So reach the left arm up, big breath in, and side bend again. to that side. Lovely. So we're gonna add a little rotation to this. You're gonna go ahead and rotate and tap the left hand on the frame. Great. So she's got this twist, this scoop, and then she's gonna come back to the side bend, and then rotate one more time. Rotate, breathing out, and coming back to the side bend, and come back to center, and pause. Okay, we'll do the other side. Let's switch the cross of your legs if your legs are crossed, just so we have the other one on top, and we'll repeat it again on the other side. So left arm goes a little in front of the shoulder, right arm lifts, inhale, exhale, side bend. And what you want to do is use the frame, press away from the frame, so you get this lift under here and this stretch through here. You want to make sure that you're not that you're truly side bending, you're not curling forward, that you're really going directly to the side. Yeah, which is sometimes tricky. Breathe into the side body, big breath in, and exhaling out. Good, again, trying to open these breath muscles out on this side. Inhale, this is also good for your low back, and exhale. One more breath, inhale, and then exhale, and let's come back and counter stretch. Reach to the other side, and stretch the other direction. Good, we're gonna add that twist. Here we go. Inhaling, and rotating. Good, nice. Now staying here, she's gonna twist, tap the right hand to the frame. She's still pressing away from the frame with the left hand, and then come back to the side again. We'll do that 2 more times. We'll rotate towards the frame. She's scooping her belly, rotating the ribs, and come back to the side 1 more time. Rotating. Good, coming back to the side, and bringing everything all the way back to center rest. Good, so we're slowly making our way to standing. The next thing we're gonna do is come to a deep squat. So for some people, this position is not always comfortable. So if you're one of those people who doesn't feel comfortable or their heels don't touch in this position, you can actually slide, like we have these little towels, some little towels under your heels, or also roll up a yoga mat, place that under your heels so that your heels can comfortably rest in this position, and they literally just slide right back in there, okay? So you wanna try to just find a comfortable squat position, see if you can turn the toes out, and we're gonna take the palms of the hands together and press the knees open with the elbows. Great, so we're in this lovely position. This is a really healthy position to find pelvic floor engagement. And while we have our lovely trainer sitting here in a squat position, it's a perfect time for me to explain this little bit of imagery. So I have to credit Brett Anderson. He's a great physical therapist, Pilates owner and instructor, and he gave me this imagery from a workshop that I watched of his, and he compared the pelvic floor to a trampoline. So I thought, why not do this actually on a trampoline so you can really get the imagery? All you're gonna do here is start with some breath, and that same diaphragmatic breath we were doing on all fours, you wanna repeat here. So you're gonna inhale, let your belly go, and then you're gonna exhale, kind of like a little rebound of a trampoline. You're gonna feel your pelvic floor pull up from the bottom. So what I should see is kind of a big expansion of your torso. Inhale, good, and then as you exhale, everything draws up from below and from above. Good, and we'll take that again. Inhale, you can also think of breathing into the back and the side, and exhale like a little trampoline mat underneath you, everything draws up. Good, and a few more times. Inhaling, good, and exhaling. Good, you can also press outward with the elbows, press inward with the palms. Inhaling, belly expands, torso expands. Exhale, everything naturally pulls up. One more time. Inhaling and exhaling. Good, so to get out of this position, you can get out of it whatever way you feel comfortable, but if you're really good, you can try reaching your arms forward and standing up. Woo, I knew she could do that, nice. All right, so now you're standing. So we just did spinal mobilization, we did breath, and we got that little pelvic floor engagement. So now you're gonna put it into our vertical position that we spend walking around the day with. So we're gonna take a little bit of a posture check. So toes forward, soft bend of the knees, neutral pelvis, and we're gonna work briefly with the ball. This is a great way to check to see if you're engaging the pelvic floor, to help you engage it, because that little squeeze of the ball encourages that. So we're gonna place that between the knees. Fabulous. And you're gonna try what you just did in the squat, standing, except on the exhale, you're gonna squeeze the ball. So relaxing arms, you're just gonna breathe in, and you're gonna exhale, give the ball a squeeze and draw the pelvic floor up as you squeeze the ball. And again, breathing in, and you can exhale, little ball squeeze, little pelvic floor drawing up, good. And you don't have to always breathe huge into the belly as you're walking around during the day, obviously. And exhale, good, one more time, inhale, and exhale. And then our very last step would be adding a closed chain bounce. So giving that ball a squeeze and seeing if you can hold that squeeze of the ball and closed chain bounce for a few minutes, keeping that pelvic floor connection and keeping your breath going. Really important to breathe here, and then seeing how long you can go and maintain that strength. You might want to take little intervals and work in baby steps. So those are our pelvic floor exercises. So remember, with the pelvic floor, you want to focus on breath, spinal mobilization. Those are really important to complement the pelvic floor strength. And then last but not least, if you do have a serious condition of the pelvic floor, be sure that you're aware of that and you talk to your doctor before you do any exercises, so that we can make sure that we keep you safe around your condition. Okay, thank you for your help.